Why the hare's nose is slit. Long, long ago, when the world was quite young, the Lady Moon wanted someone to take a message to men. She tried first one creature and then another, but no, they were all too busy. They couldn't go. At last, she called the crocodile. He is very slow and not much good, but the Lady Moon thought she would pinch his tail and make him go quickly. So she said to him, "Go down to men at once and give them this message. As I die and, dying, live, so also shall you die and, dying, live." So the Lady Moon pinched old Crocodile's tail, and he gave one jump, and off he started with the message. He went quickly while the moon watched him, but soon he came to a bend in the road. Round he went with a great turn. For a crocodile's back is stiff like a plank. He can't bend it. And then, when he thought he was out of sight, he went slower and slower. Drift, draft, drippity, drift, draft, drift, draft, drippity, drift, draft. Like a knee-haltered horse. He was too lazy. All of a sudden, there was a noise. Shh. And there was the little hare. "Ha, ha, ha," he laughed. "What is the meaning of this drift draft drippity drift draft? Where are you going in such a hurry, crocodile?" "I can't stop to speak to you, Hare," said Crocodile, trying to look busy and to hurry up. "The Lady Moon has sent me with a message to men." "And what is the message, Crocodile?" "It's a very important one. As I die, and, dying, live, so also shall you die, and, dying, live." "Ah, but that is a stupid message. And you can't even run. You are so slow. You can only go drift draft drippity drift draft like a knee-haltered horse. But I go swish like the wind. Give the message to me, and I will take it." "Very well," said the lazy crocodile, "but you must say it over first and get it right." So Hare said the message over and over, and then, swish, he was off like the wind. Here he was, and you could only see the white of his tail and his little behind legs getting small in the distance. At last he came to men, and he called them together and said, "Listen, sons of the baboon, a wise man comes with a message. By the Lady Moon I am sent to tell you, as I die, and, dying, perish, so shall you also die and come wholly to an end." Then men looked at each other and shivered. All of a sudden, the flesh on their arms was like goose flesh. "What shall we do? What is this message that a Lady Moon has sent? As I die, and, dying, or perish, so shall you also die and come wholly to an end." But Hare did not care. He danced away on his behind legs and laughed to think how he had cheated men. Then he returned again to the moon, and she asked, "What have you said to men?" "O Lady Moon, I have given them your message. Like as I die and, dying, perish, so also shall you die and come wholly to an end." And they are all stiff with fright. Ha, 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 ha! Hare laughed at the thought of it. "What?" cried the Lady Moon. "What? Did you tell them that? Child of the devil's donkey, you must be punished." Ah, but the Lady Moon was very angry. She took a big stick, and if she could have hit him, then, and there would have been no more little Hare. His head would have been cracked right through. But he is a sly hare. When he saw the big stick coming near, 1, 2, 3, he ducked and slipped away, and it caught him only on the nose. Hare forgot that the moon was a lady. He yelled and screamed. He jumped high into the air. He jumped with all his 4 feet at once. And scratch, scratch, scratch. He was kicking and hitting and clawing the moon's face till the pieces flew. Then he felt bitter and ran away as hard as he could, holding his broken nose with both hands. And that is why today he goes about with a split nose, and the golden face of the Lady Moon has long, dark scars. The little hare's trickery not only frightens men, but also results in punishment for himself, his split nose, and lasting scars on the moon. This reinforces the idea that deceit and mischief can backfire, harming both the deceiver and others, illustrating that actions have consequences, and that justice, even if imperfect, is part of the natural order. The intended message, as I die, and dying, live, so also shall you die, and dying live, reflects the natural cycle of life, death, and renewal. The story encourages acceptance of this cycle, while the changed message brings unnecessary fear about mortality. The message suggests that just as the moon seems to die, disappear, and then live, again reappear, so too do living beings experience cycles of death and renewal. It's a way of expressing the belief that death is not the end, but part of a natural, ongoing process. Whether that means literal rebirth, spiritual continuation, or the enduring impact of one's life. Even when the moon is no longer visible, it is not truly gone. Soon, a new crescent appears and the cycle begins again. This rebirth symbolizes renewal, resurrection, or the continuation of existence in another form. In summary, the moon's phases mirror the journey of life, death, and new beginnings. The phrase encourages acceptance of change and the idea that endings are followed by new beginnings, just as the moon returns after darkness. Don't miss out on more inspiring stories and valuable insights. Subscribe now and join our community. Stay updated with exclusive content delivered straight to your inbox. Hit subscribe and let's keep the conversation going.